Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Southern Virginia University men's soccer here from the fields at Southern Virginia University. I'm Jim Bresnahan, joined by Mike Harmon, getting ready to bring you men's soccer action. Southern Virginia, Washington Lee. Mike, the inter-county rivalry here in Rockbridge County. Southern Virginia comes in with a record of 0-3. They have struggled with their offense. The men have in their first three soccer games. Washington Lee also struggling with its offense. They are 1-1-1 on the season, and they have not scored in the last couple of games.
No, and it's going to be interesting to watch. There's a new coach for Washington and Lee, a lot of young players for Southern Virginia. First home game for Southern Virginia for the men's soccer team, so there's a lot of emotions that could be going on out there.
And you look at how things have transpired for Southern Virginia for the men in their first three games. And again, they just got their first goal of the season the other night against Randolph. It has really been a struggle for them offensively. They've been able to really hang with some of these opponents the first three games up until that Randolph game, which kind of got away from them at the end.
Yeah, again, a lot of new faces, a lot of new players coming in to try to figure out their system and figure out each other. We talked about that a little bit with the women's team also, so we'll see how they mesh together today.
Any particular players for the men's soccer team here at Southern Virginia that you're really focused on? Because, as you mentioned, they've got a lot of new faces, and I believe in the preseason they were picked to finish 10th in the Capital Conference.
Well, the returners that we really need to watch, especially offensively, are Carlos Munoz and Josh Smith. They came back for their junior years. They've been with Coach Pitino for a full year now and moving on. And they scored 9 of the 27 goals that Southern Virginia had last year.
And they've got a couple of local kids that I'm familiar with. Christian Rice, who played at least basketball, maybe some football. There he is right there, number 26 from Perry McClure High School. And number 6, Gabe Ramirez, who was Rockbridge County's kicker, very good place kicker, arguably the best place kicker in Rockbridge County high school football history, number 6. And looks like these guys are getting a lot of playing time.
Yeah, they're going to be starting tonight, and Coach Patino's really high on them. We'll go ahead and give the starting lineups for both teams now. Starting for the Generals from Washington and Lee, in goal will be number 1, Kieran McQuillan, number 2, Ted Hurst, number 3, Kerry Carbiasi, number 4, Dylan Stroud, number 5, Kevin Molnar, number 7, Patrick Berry, number 10, Benjamin Bayless, number 12, David Cohen, number 13, Andrew Kim, number 17, Austin Gilbert, and number 24, Conan Hayward. And for the Knights will be number 3, Tristan Longerhan, number 5, Colin Flynn, number 6, Gabriel Ramirez, number 7, Carlos Munoz, number 10, Josh Smith, number 11, Greg Allen, number 13, Nick Francis, number 16, Court Cox, number 22, Sam Kelly, number 26, Christian Rice, and number 32 in goal, Keenan Carroll.
Okay, we're having some video problems, I understand, so we're going to kind of take a little break here, and we'll be having all the action for you in just a few seconds. Some good action here in the first 5 minutes of this contest as W&L makes a push towards the Southern Virginia goal, but no goal. Right now we played a little over 5 minutes, Mike. No score. Both teams aggressively pushing it up and down, maybe doing some feeling out as well of each team, trying to figure out exactly what the philosophy each other's team is going to be. And W&L has actually made a couple of pushes, as we saw right there at the Knights goal.
Yeah, a lot of action up and down the field. Again, they're feeling each other out, trying to find out where the weaknesses are in the formations that they're playing. Just fortunately for the Generals, they've been able to attack a little bit more than the Knights have.
And again, as we mentioned, coming in, the Knights have only scored 1 goal in 3 games. The Generals have only scored 2 goals in 3 games. Both teams have struggled with the offense. Not sure if it's problems with their offense, maybe trying to some of the new players learning the ropes, or if it's more about the competition they have faced.
It might be a little bit of both, but we like to go with they're trying to learn and gel with each other. Again, the Knights are starting 5 true freshmen, 2 sophomores, and 4 juniors. A very, very young team.
And a few guys are hurt. We saw, I guess, Maluba come stop by our broadcasting position here just a few minutes before the game, and I know they hope to get him back soon.
Yeah, Brahim is a very physical player out on the field. He has a chip bone in his ankle, and he told us that hopefully within a week and a half, he'll be without the walking cast that he has and be ready to roll.
Good athlete, played some basketball. I'm not sure if is he expected to play basketball in the coming winter?
He's going to try to do both again.
Okay. Well, I know we talked about that with you off and on over the last year or so. Is some of these players will start out multi-sports as they get a little deeper into school, especially with academics. Sometimes, quite often, I don't know what the percentage rate might be, that some of these other sports, the lesser sports, I guess, or their secondary sports, kind of go by the wayside.
Yeah, we saw a little foul there. The Generals were able to get their free kick. But as they get further into school, like you said, also the seasons are starting to get longer, and they're becoming full-time.
Overlap too, yeah.
They overlap, and now that we have a full-time athletic staff that's training them in the weight room, they're using their seasons almost full-time, so it's really hard to go back and forth.
No score. Generals trying to get it another goal, and a good save near a goal there by the Generals, but a good save by the junior goalkeeper, Keenan Carroll.
Yeah,
that almost trickled in.
Ball almost slipped right by him there, but good reactions to keep it out.
And right now it's been all Generals as far as shots towards the goal in the first 9 minutes or so. The Knights are trying to score. That was a good centering pass, just no one there to knock it in.
Yeah, way to chase it down on the far side. I think that was Josh Smith. We had Christian Rice able to chase it all the way down and off of him for a goal kick. But that was the first real opportunity the Knights had to really start to attack on the Generals' end. We see that the Knights very quick. I think Coach Patino has really recruited a lot of speed players, and so just meshing them and trying to figure out where they are on the field and where their teammates are going to be on the field. And once they figure that out, the offensive flow should become much, much better.
And that kind of situation where you're hoping to have a teammate who's right in position in front of the goal, ready to accept that pass and either knock it with the head or perhaps the leg into the goal, is that more about really, I guess, just a matter of timing, or is there a certain amount of luck involved in that?
Well, we'd like to say there's a lot of timing in that, but luck always has its part in any sport that you play. And
you have to anticipate on both ends, and you have to be in position.
Yes, sir.
Look at Gabe Ramirez shake off a couple of Generals.
Oh, tried to slide it through there to number 10, Josh Smith, and if Josh gets it going toward the goal in one-on-one situation, he usually wins those.
Great to see these two teams, these two schools get together in really any athletics. We've seen it, I guess, in baseball over the last couple of years, now soccer, obviously, and love to see it, the bigger sports too, like basketball and football, especially football, I guess. Just not sure with, when you're talking about the New Jersey Athletic Conference schedule for SVU or ODAC for the Generals, there's just not too many non-conference openings for these two teams to meet in football.
Yes, it's tough to get the schedule, and most schedules are made, 2 or 3 years in advance. There's Josh Smith with the ball going down the far side.
Good move. Just not able to put it towards the goal.
And if he could have curled it a little bit more in, you had Carlos Munoz right there in the middle trying to make sure something happened. But nice job by Josh to play it off of a General player, so it's a first corner kick.
And Munoz is a pretty big kid, too. He's almost 195 pounds. Local boy, too. He's junior and played his sports at Jefferson Forest over near Lynchburg.
And a great player. Really is one of the building blocks that the Knights teams have been building around for the last 3 years.
And when you look at the men's soccer team here, Mike, and of course the women, we did them on Friday and Saturday. Their games on Friday and Saturday. They'll be in action on Friday and Saturday over in the Lynchburg area, playing Roanoke and Lynchburg. But you talked about the building process. I know we talked about this with you last spring when it comes to men's and women's lacrosse. How would you rate the building experience the last few years and maybe the immediate future for men and women's soccer here?
Well, Coach Rorrock's done a really good job, and he's keeping a core of young ladies, and so there's a lot of continuity. This is Coach Patino's second year. He was able to keep a nice core and bring in a good mix of junior college and freshmen. And I know he's looking forward to that day that when his starting 11 all return.
Boy, Nick Francis had his pocket picked and also paid the price going down to the ground on the W&L play. Well, the women got a big victory, of course, Saturday here against Emory and Henry, 1-0. They won't be in action, though, as we mentioned, until Friday and Saturday over in Lynchburg. We do have volleyball action tonight, though, for the women's volleyball team in action on the road.
Yeah, they're down at Lynchburg, and the first set's over, and they lost that 24-26. Second set's just beginning, and so we'll keep everybody updated as we go there.
And, of course, football losing at Rhodes in their opener, 2015 opener last Saturday. They are off this weekend, but they'll be playing Frostburg on the 19th and first home game. And, of course, as we talked about, unlike past years, and especially when you look back a couple of years, like 2 or 3 years ago, especially in that season when the Knights just a few years ago went 8-2, there are no soft spots on that football schedule.
No, none at all. And again, that's part of the NJAC conference that you have to play in. It's one of the more difficult conferences that there is. Also, we'll be back here on Saturday for another men's game against Widener University.
That'll be starting at noon on Saturday. And just have to check, I guess, Mike, because I know we've got some rain in the forecast on Saturday.
Yeah, as long as there's no lightning,
right.
We'll be here playing.
How does that impact, though, if there's no lightning and you get a heavy downpour? How does that impact soccer just in general terms?
Well, with the turf getting wet, the ball's also going to be wet, so the ball's going to skid a whole lot more on the
tougher to control, I would guess.
And also the pace of play will be a little bit faster, so they have to anticipate that. But speaking of pace of play, the Knights run a 4-3-3, which is a little bit more wide open. Try to use the athletic abilities that they have, and we've seen them be able to really get back on defense. So I don't know if the offense will ever match the defense this year. I hope so, but defensively the Knights are looking really good right now.
Well, it brings up another question. When you talk about having good athletes, do you want your best athletes on the defensive line, the midfield line, or the attack line?
Well, these athletes come in and Coach Patino evaluates them, and most of them come in and already know which positions that they're going to be trying out for and trying to go to, and Coach Patino tries to recruit to that. So if you're an offensive player, most times you're going to be an offensive player when you get here.
Josh Smith got tripped up.
And there's the two captains, Josh and Carlos.
Knights would love to get a good scoring opportunity,
there
and
was
a shot
one.
saved by the W&L goalie.
Nice job by Josh to bring it in. Greg Allen just a half a step away. And those type of attacking opportunities that you can get. Again, we talked about this with the women. The more you keep knocking on the door, the more opportunities you have to have that defense crack.
And another good example of a goalie having to be aggressive, because if you hang back on a situation like that, you might pay the price. How often do you see goalies who aren't that aggressive, and when shots come in there like that, they're going to protect the goal, and they're not going to come out for the ball?
Well, it depends on the goalie style and what they're comfortable with. And if the goalie hangs back, they're usually really good at lateral movement and anticipation of where the ball is going. You want to make sure that you don't hang too much back, and if you're really slow. So the goalies really work hard on their movement, and the coaches work really hard on helping them become a little bit more settled in their style.
Now, I don't know how often you see a goalie make a move like that and kind of fan and miss the ball, in which case obviously they're sitting out to dry.
Yeah, it happens every once in a while. Right there was a yellow card handed over to Benjamin Bayless from Washington Lee. Took Court Cox out as Court was in the air. Kind of asked, what did I do? But anytime a player's in the air and they're defenseless, you really can't run into them.
And once you get a yellow card, how much does that weigh on your mind about future penalties?
Well, probably not a lot. With some of these players, they know how far they can push it, and they're really testing the referees at the beginning of the game. So the rest of the time, they know their limits right now, and they know that was a kind of a dangerous play, and they know that they shouldn't have done it. But if the referee's not going to call it, you play to the level of what the referee's going to call. So now that really sets the tone for both teams to know what the referees are going to call and give yellow cards for.
Generals have a shot at it, but off the side of the foot by the WNL player. That was Austin Gilbert. He couldn't line it up and have a good shot.
Looks like we had offsides, and now the referee's going to talk to number 17 of the Generals, Austin
That was
Gilbert.
who was on the left side. Apparently, he got called for offsides, and maybe just explaining as to why he was called for offsides.
Well, I think he may have said something to the referee too, and the referee wanted to let him know that, hey, I'm in charge, and we're not going to have any of that.
The referee's kind of, in more ways than one, kind of explaining to the players exactly what's allowed and what's not allowed tonight.
You know, and we watched the women's game, and we saw a lot of stuff happening that shouldn't be happening in the game of soccer. This referee is really in control. He's setting the tone early. He may loosen up a little bit later. As the players start to get tired, you have to loosen up some. But right now, he's calling it very, very strict.
And that's Christian Rice down the right side. It's a little opening. Kicks it in front to Ramirez, or Munoz to make that. And the Knights are not able to take advantage. That was good teamwork, though, to get that ball into the middle.
Yeah, Ramirez tried to give it over to Greg Allen, and Greg just had a defender stabbed right in front of it. Counterattacked by the Generals.
And the Generals score right back. What a big turn of events in less than 30 seconds.
Yeah, that counterattack was just phenomenal going down the far side. Number 12, David Cohen, was able to score for the Generals, and like you said, it didn't take very long.
Knights had a golden opportunity, could not convert, and just did not get back, I guess, in greater numbers defensively, Mike, to stop that charge by the Generals.
Well, with that 4-4-3 that the Knights play, that does put them at some risk when everybody comes up and attacks. And when Christian took it down the right side, a lot of the back row came up too, and just got caught napping.
And now we'll see how the Knights react. In their first 3 games, obviously, Mike, we mentioned they've only scored 1 goal in 3 games. They've fallen behind in all 3 contests and just have not been able to catch up with their offense.
No, and that usually happens in the beginning of the season. The offense is usually what lags behind. The defenses are able to shine earlier on in the seasons, and hopefully as the season goes, not only do they get stronger, but the offense does catch up to them.
So the Knights now trail 1-0. Trying to get possession of the ball and trying to maintain control of it. And the Knights have it right now.
Nice use of the full field by the Knights, and the Knights really like to attack down that left side with Josh Smith over on the left side. Josh almost getting pinned in there.
Junior lost the ball. Goes to the turf, gets up a little slowly, but the Knights get it right back, at least momentarily. Now the ball's still out there, and Generals will kick it out of bounds.
So we'll see the throw in. And there's one of the good freshmen that really Coach Patino's really happy about is Tristan Longerhand.
Out of Tennessee. Is it getting easier, Mike, for these soccer coaches, the men and women soccer coaches here at SVU, to do their recruiting now, too?
Well, I know that Coach Grawrock has his system set up, and he's already recruiting for 2017. So once you get your system set up and you establish yourself, it becomes a little bit easier. Coach Patino has great contacts throughout the grassroots soccers that's out in Utah and Arizona. Able to really recruit well there, and he's setting himself up here, obviously, in Virginia by bringing in such great players as Carlos Munoz and Christian Rice and Gabriel Ramirez from here in Virginia. Also, you know, here in Virginia, he has some other kids, Daniel Nelson, that we'll see later on. So it's nice to see that he's bringing in not only kids that he has from his contacts out west, but local kids also.
Yeah, Daniel Nelson from Virginia Beach. Actually, you look down the roster, there's 5 or 6 here from Virginia.
Yeah, you got Hunter Collins from Amherst. So a lot of good things going on here.
Knights still have 25 minutes to work with here in the first half, trying to get on the scoreboard. And again, as we talked about repeatedly, the second goal of a game in this kind of game would be huge. You fall behind 2-0, again, you're in the hole. If you can get a goal and get the equalizer, then you suddenly have some momentum.
Yeah, I think that's a huge deal right there, is getting that goal before Washington and Lee can put one in. Also, the Knights have learned how Washington and Lee really wants to play and how they're going to counterattack very fast off of any kind of missed shot that the Knights have. So that back row of defense really has to pay attention.
Doesn't impact the way your offense carries out, though, I would imagine.
No, it shouldn't, not at all. Common foul there called on Ramirez.
WNL was expected to have a pretty good team this season, I guess, in the ODAC.
Yeah, but there was some concern with the new coach coming in. How fast can WNL really adapt to his system? Looks like they're adapting pretty well. It looks like he wants to really counterattack off anything. They like to push the ball offensively to begin with, but that counterattack is just deadly.
It was a good pass downfield, but to no avail for the Generals.
And it looks like we're going to be off of one of the Knights' heads, so first corner kick now for the Generals. And we'll see how the Knights play it and what the Generals try to do off their set plays.
Well, you do like the way the women were able to bounce back on Saturday after that loss to Ferrum on Friday, bouncing back to beat Emory and Henry on Saturday as the Generals try to get it in off the corner kick, and nice defense by the Knights to block that shot.
Yeah, the Knights need to do a better job of trying to clear it out. Those the Generals keep the ball right there in the middle of the field.
Left side and another goal.
Oh, great
knocked
job
away
by Longerhand.
Yeah, he single-handedly prevented that from going in. He jarred it off the post. That looked like it was definitely going to go in, Mike, and I don't know how that kick didn't go in.
Yeah, he was able to just stab at it. The ball went off the top post there, and stayed out of the goal. And
usually when you get it past the goalie or get around the goalie like that, it's kind of hard to miss.
Yeah, nice. Great job by the Knights on an emergency situation, but they need to clear that corner kick out a lot earlier so they're not put in those situations.
I think it's fair to say there the Knights really dodged a bullet.
They did. Because, again, like you said, if they go behind 2-0, now Washington Lee can do a lot of things. They can continue the attack. They can even bring it back out, play with it a little while, and really start milking the clock. Even though it's only the first half, they can really start looking for opportunities that really present themselves by the Knights overextending.
And, for a team that's been able to really get a nice shot by the Knights, but a good save by the WNL goalie. I was going to say maybe give their offense a little confidence because they came in here struggling. They'd only scored themselves 2 goals in 3 games and hadn't scored in the last 2 games.
Yeah, that's hopefully not what we want to see is WNL start to get on a roll. Great shot there by Carlos Munoz right in front of the goal. The goalkeeper for the Generals did a good job, number 1, of popping it out. Obviously the Knights keep control, and we'll see what kind of throw-in they have.
Yeah, Kieran McQuilkin making a couple of good saves, good plays here in the first half against the Knights as the goalkeeper for WNL. See him right there.
So we have our first substitution. We have Alexander Drubay comes in for Christian Rice. And Drubay is the goal scorer for the Knights, the lone goal scorer for the Knights. So hopefully now we'll see him be able to put his talents on display.
Hard to say what we can look for, I guess, out of Widener coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, there's
out of Pennsylvania.
That's going to be again another tough game for the Knights. Anytime they play one of the teams that they're facing, Coach Patino doesn't try to schedule anybody that they have to play down to. He always wants to play up. Obviously trying to get ready for the Capital Athletic Conference.
True. I mean, it's hard for people to really empathize, but I mean that kind of philosophy really does help you eventually when you get to the Capital Conference.
Yeah, and that's what they're playing for. It's nice if you could go throughout your preseason.
Sure, I mean you come in 5-0, but if you're just not ready, what's the 5-0 record really mean?
Exactly, and then you don't, if you don't do well in your conference, you don't get it to the conference tournament, then you have no chance of winning that and going on to the NCAA tournament. So. Although you don't want to go into your conference
with an 0-8 record or something.
that's not preferable, but if you play competition that's going to get you prepared for that, and then you go through your conference season undefeated.
My guess is most coaches would say I'd rather be 0-8 and prepared than 8-0 and not ready.
Exactly. Again, the Knights need to clear this out as quickly as possible.
And try to get the offense going back on the other end. Late whistle there. Bodies collided. And it took if the collision was the case there, Mike, the whistle blew a good couple seconds after the collision.
Yeah, sometimes the referees wait to see whose advantage. If the advantage stayed with WNL, they wouldn't have called that foul. Since the ball went to the Knights, he has to call it. We have two subs coming in for Washington and Lee. Mason Billings for Kevin Molnar and Kevin Lencioni for Austin Gilbert.
Knights trying to battle for the ball there. Greg Allen doing a good job battling the sophomore.
You know, and except for that one counterattack that WNL had, really the Knights defense has done pretty good. Obviously, the save by Longerhand is the highlight of the night until someone scores and the Knights are able to take hopefully the lead off of the second goal that they score. But so far that's a ESPN top play of the night.
Then hopefully it's one of those plays where WNL looks back after a 1-goal loss and says, boy, we should have had that one.
Another sub comes in for WNL. Miles Bent in for Reeves Duggan and Jack Miller in for Dylan Stroud. So WNL's really substituting very liberally, wanting to keep fresh legs out there. Coach Patino doesn't sub as much, hoping that his guys are really trained and cardiovascular, just aware enough that they can stay out there for a long period of time.
And we talked about that Saturday night with the women. Makes you wonder, I mean, are these guys ready to do these kind of minutes on the field, just game, in this case, game 4 of the season?
I know they do a lot of training at 6:30 in the morning. They don't sleep in. That's, Coach Patino gets them up. They do their workouts. They do their practices. So, and then the training staff that we have, the athletic training staff takes care of any injuries that they have, but also the strength and conditioning coaches do a great job preparing them.
Nice pass by Munoz. Kind of a no-look pass. But right now the Knights are having a hard time getting a good shot.
Yeah, Isaac Smedley just didn't pass that ball with a lot of touch on it. And once you get the ball in that offensive end, you've really got to take advantage of it, and you don't want to just give up a long pass out of bounds.
Generals try to work it up the right side, but the Knights get it back. Now let's see if Southern Virginia can manufacture some offense here. Trailing 1-0. As Mike mentioned, we'll have men's soccer coming up also on Saturday at noon against Widener. Then after that, the Knights will go to Ferrum on the 15th before they return home for a couple of home games on the 17th against Roanoke, against the Bridgewater Eagles on the 23rd, and then their first capital game, Mike, the 26th. Both the men and women going to St. Mary's.
And that's a long trip. Hopefully the Knights are be very prepared for that trip by playing these tough teams that they've got lined up. You talked about WNL now. You got Bridgewater coming up for the men, Ferrum coming up for the men. The women go down and take on defending national champions in Lynchburg and also play against Roanoke. So it's not an easy schedule, but hopefully all this prepares them for the Capital Athletic Conference.
Yeah, I think we'll be having that Roanoke game on the 17th, the men against Roanoke on the September the 17th, and I believe we've got on the 16th the women's in action against Randolph.
Nice job by Carlos trying to clear it out. WNL just trying to switch sides of the field, and then, nice long pass, but Court Cox just overran it just a little bit. Shot on goal.
Good save.
Nice by Keenan Carroll.
Mason Billings had a good look at it, He got away, as you mentioned, from Cox and got a shot probably when he shouldn't have been allowed to get that shot.
Yeah, Court just overplayed, overcommitted, and got his balance leaning just a little bit too far to his left.
Knights right now just trying to get possession. Ramirez has it.
Just a little bit too much for Alexander Drouet.
Sub into the game for W&L.
Looks like that's number 26, Jake Roberts, coming in.
Sophomore midfielder.
Again, you can see the attacking nature defensively for the Knights. That does leave them susceptible for counterattacks, but hopefully they can produce enough pressure that they can outnumber the Generals on the offensive end and find the back of the net.
They've had a couple of good looks at the goal, but just not enough. And right now, here comes an opportunity for W&L. Save made by the Knights. And that was another risky move by Carroll coming out like that, but he really didn't have much of a choice.
Yeah, Carroll just almost hesitated just a little bit too much, but that's almost the same type of play that we saw with Rachel Miller and how
she got injured.
Yeah, because the player didn't pull up. We saw right there that the player from W&L saw that he was going down to the ground, pulled up to make sure that he didn't injure him. That's the way that the soccer is supposed to be played.
Centering pass, kicked away. Nice play move. Nick Francis getting that ball out of there momentarily.
Ramirez tries to get it out also.
W&L keeps it in. Now the Knights have it.
Francis clears it out. Tries to go all the way across the field to Drouet, but I'm sorry, not Drouet, Isaac Smedley. And right now the attacks for the Knights are just too few and too far between. It seems like the Generals are attacking 3 or 4 times in a row and then not able to put the ball into the back of the net. Thank goodness for the Knights defense, but again, the Knights get one attack and then they're on defense for 3 or 4 possessions.
And I believe W&L scored its goal with about 28 minutes left in the first half, and again it was a big flurry. The Knights had a shot at their end at maybe a potential goal, missed the shot, and then W&L within 15-20 seconds after that went right up the right side and got a goal.
Yeah, it was just a great counterattack by the Generals.
Try to give you another score update on that volleyball game. Knights, Lynchburg. The Knights lost the first set, and looks like they're ahead right now.
Yeah, they're heading the second set 19-17. So hopefully they can tie the sets up.
Knights already have one match victory.
They beat Spalding on Saturday. Here's our free kick. Carlos Munoz is going to take it. Sends it in toward the goal. Oh, just a little bit too far for Ramirez. Catch up to him.
Made.
Here comes that counterattack that the Generals have.
They've got numbers over to the right side as well.
Good job by Colin Flynn. Soft ball, but nice centering pass.
Man, the goalie comes out. Keenan Carroll makes the move and gets the ball.
And off any type of set play, the Knights are really going to have to be careful of that Generals counterattack.
They move pretty quickly, and they move in numbers. Have an idea about where their teammates might be, too.
Yeah, they're very organized, very disciplined. You know, when someone plays fast, the first thought is, well, there's no discipline there, there's no organization. But in order to play fast very successfully, you have to have a lot of discipline.
And unfortunately for the Knights, the action here all taking place in their end of the field defensively. W&L with a 1-goal lead, trying to make it more as we close in on the 10-minute mark of this first half.
Again, just some of those clearing passes just aren't very successful.
Good save there by Carroll.
A good job by the Knights of forcing the ball outside the 18 there.
Where the odds of knocking it in from there just not very good.
Yeah, it gives the reaction time for the goalkeeper becomes much greater. That's like taking a pitcher and putting him back at second base and telling him to try to throw a strike now.
And, of course, with all the defenders around, you don't have that much time. You got to get that shot off in a hurry.
Sam Kelly with the ball. Hands it off to Nick Francis. Just not able to handle those one touches. Looks like sometimes the Knights are trying to do a little bit too much with it instead of just basic dribbling skills.
And you look at the early season problems trying to gel as a team, especially for a team with so many freshmen, Mike. What's the area that it really takes time to gel? Would it be the passing game?
Yeah, when you come in, especially freshmen coming in from high school, the game moves a little bit slower. The athletes aren't as big and aren't as tough, and if you try to make the same passes you made in high school, they're going to be stolen here in college. WNL substitution, Will Rowson in for James Brady as we see Carlos Munoz getting ready to take the free kick. And he may be wanting to try to bend this around into the far goal.
See what Munoz tries to do here. Tries to center. A little flip there, but saved by the goalie.
It's like Greg Allen again, just not able to get enough power on that little flick at the very end to get it past the goalie for WNL.
McQuilkin has not allowed any goals here in the first half, and we're down to 9 minutes to go.
No, and he's had 2 or 3 hard shots come at him. Start to see some of the crowd arrive a little bit late. I know a lot of the athletes were trying to get into study hall at 6 o'clock so they could be out by 8 to come and support their teammates.
A little bit later start, I would imagine. This is about as late as anybody's going to start a soccer game here at SVU, 8 o'clock.
Yes. Unless there's, again, another
lightning
delay for a tournament.
Yeah.
But what it does is it takes away some of the heat. So you don't have to worry so much about dehydration, heat cramps. And so, again, player safety. Plus, with WNL only being 6 miles away, they can leave here at 10 o'clock and be home and showered up.
Yeah, I'll tell you, too. I mean, we'll see a lot of games on this field. I'm thinking ahead to October the 10th, homecoming, football, and 2 soccer games. So that's going to be a busy day on October the 10th. That's Saturday.
Yeah, the field will see a lot of use that day, won't it?
1-0 right now. WNL has the lead. They've had it almost the entire first half. They scored without 28 minutes to go in this first half. And outside of a couple of flurries, Mike, by the Knights, WNL has really been able to maintain control of the ball. Nice play defensively there by the Knights to stop that shot. Greg Allen, the sophomore, making the play.
Yeah, and again, the Knights are getting into these emergency situations of having to get back and stop these attacks by the Generals. You can see there's Keenan Carroll directing his defense where to go, and I'm sure he would like to see them on the other end of the field attacking McKelkin.
And Carroll's made a few saves here in this first half. There's a centering pass off the corner kick. Knights trying to clear it here. Munoz does momentarily, but WNL keeps it in. Nice play by Smedley to come back for the ball. And now the Knights try to work it out of their own end.
And sometimes the centering passes just aren't as crisp as they need to be, and then players start to get frustrated, and we see a little bit of trying to take 1 against 2, one offensive player against 2 defensive players. Hopefully we don't get to that point where the Knights start to feel like they have to do it all on their own and they can just really rely on their teammates. Here again, another attack by the Generals. Oh, a nice centering pass right through the middle, and Carroll up to the task. If If the attacker would have hit the ball to one of the goalposts, it would have gone in, but tried to go straight through, and Carroll was there. Again, those passes are just sliding right through the middle of the field. The Knights would really want to shore up the defense there. Not a lot of great communication going on. Who's going to take the ball and who's going to take the next defender or next offensive player. Five minutes left to go in the first half, and again, the Generals have been the ones that are forcing all the action. The majority of the time has been spent down on this end of the field where the Knights are playing defense. We've had a few flurries of offense for the Knights, but not enough.
Centering pass and a near shot there, but Knights dodge another bullet. Down to almost 4 minutes to go, and it's still 1-0 W&L.
So, again, now the Knights, if they could get a goal in these last 4 minutes and change, it would really pick them up and get them set up really nice for the second half. Obviously, they don't want to give up a goal in this second half, in this last 4 minutes.
So 1-0, and we're under 4 minutes to go now.
And you can see how W&L just they are doing some great triangle passing, but their triangles are a little bit flatter than what the Knights are trying to do. The Knights are more of a equal triangle passing, but we see these flat triangles by the Generals, and it's really causing havoc on the Knights defense. 7 fouls, 7 there. As Carlos Munoz went down, Patrick Berry tripped him up a little bit. Carlos with a little bit of a smile.
Mike, if things don't change here in the final 3 minutes and we go in 1-0 at halftime down here for the Knights, how would you feel about, again, only giving up the one goal, and it was a tough goal to give up, and the Knights have had some shots at the W&L goal, so only being down 1 at halftime, if that's the way it turns out here in the final 3 minutes?
I think I'd be optimistic and frustrated at the same time. Optimistic because there are some great things that are happening. Frustrated because, one, we didn't take advantage of the opportunities that presented ourselves, like on these corner kicks or the kicks that we've seen Carlos take, or free kicks outside the box. Frustrated that my defense is getting shredded on some of these counterattacks.
And also relieved by Lonergan's play, otherwise it could be 2-0.
Exactly.
Easy save there for McQuilkin, the goalie.
So Coach Patino is going through a full gamut of emotions right now. And
bottom line is his team's still in the game in the second half, as long as they don't give up a goal here in the final couple of minutes.
There, W&L tries to switch the field, but just too far. Yeah, the Knights are really in this game as long as they don't give up that second goal right now. As you see, the Generals are starting to press up now, wanting to try to get that second goal in this last 2 minutes. The Knights can't allow that.
That first goal, I don't know if you really would say that they stole it, but they certainly took the Knights off guard with that flurry, that move upfield after the Knights had actually had a good shot at the W&L goal. And it kind of took, it looked like the Knights a little bit off guard.
Yeah, it caught them by surprise. I don't think they knew how fast that the Generals really wanted to run their counterattack. Right now, the Generals get a corner kick. This is a dangerous time, this last minute and 30. The Knights have to be aware, and we've really got to make sure that they clear the ball. And when they clear it, it has to get out past midfield. We see number 6, Al Organ, playing the ball in.
Nice play by the Knights to boot it back out. I understand at halftime we're going to be hearing from Madison Sowell, the provost here at the university, get his thoughts on how the academic year early on is going. So we'll stay tuned for that at halftime of this game, which is only about a minute away now.
And there we go. We see the Knights was trying to do some short passing, but again, W&L steps in, and that's the passes that have really given the Knights a lot of problems in between the back 2 defenders. Don't know how they're going to shore that up. I'm sure Coach Patino is going to address that, or Coach Tibbs will address that. But that's something that has to be shored up, because if they allow it to keep on happening, that's more chances for goals.
Yep.
And also, as
It's the passes that really prevent you from going on offense, but obviously could really spell some problems for your defense.
it can, and teams will see these films. They'll get these films of non-conference games. The conference foes will, and they will learn how to exploit that. Last 18 seconds of the first half, the Knights really just got to make sure that the ball stays away from their goal.
And it looks like this is going to be a 1-0 game at halftime. Horn blows, and we are at halftime with Washington Lee holding on to just a 1-goal lead here at halftime. Knights on top of the Generals, 1-0. And we'll have the first half numbers for you a little later on here at halftime as we get ready for second half action, just a few minutes away. So the Generals are on top. They score with about 28 minutes to go in the first half and take a 1-0 lead. And here at halftime, we're pleased to be joined now by Madison Sowell, who is the provost of Southern Virginia University. You guys have been back at school now for several weeks. And how would you think things are going so far, Madison, as far as the academic year is concerned?
The academic year is going great. We've got a wonderful group of first-year students, many great returning students. We have some new professors who are bringing some great energy into the academic arena, so we're just excited. We've had a couple of weeks. We've had our president speak to us. We've had college convocation. We're ready to go, and we love coming up and supporting our Knights.
From the academic standpoint, you mentioned the new faculty, the new faces, I guess. How do you prepare for something like this? Get ready so that first day you're all ready.
Well, we have, of course, a faculty conference and a university conference before school starts, even before new student orientation, and those are opportunities for us to review all the requirements for a good syllabus and for a good start of the new school year. And so many of the faculty who come to us have had teaching experience elsewhere, and so they bring that very enriched lifetime of experience to the classroom here in Buena Vista.
Then, of course, we constantly have seen and are seeing and probably will see for the foreseeable future some building projects on campus, too.
It's very exciting. In addition to the renovation of Roby Hall, which has come along very nicely, we have the new dorm on Walnut that anybody who goes by can see is going to be a beautiful addition to the campus and to the community as well.
What stands out in your mind for future projects, perhaps? Anything really leap out?
There are so many exciting possibilities. Obviously, the faculty are very concerned about getting the latest state-of-the-art classrooms, and so we're looking forward to having classrooms that serve us to the very best of our technological abilities.
What can you say about the latest admissions numbers, or perhaps when you look ahead in the future in that area?
Well, we're back up. The lowering of the missionary age for the LDS Church dealt us a blow there for a couple of years, but we have many of the returned missionaries here this fall.
How hard was it to adjust to that change?
Well, we just tightened our belt buckles and went forward. But we're up 30 or 40 students this fall over last fall, and we're headed back up to towards 800. That's our goal for next year, and we're looking forward to it.
Now, did you guys go into this academic year with any other special priorities, I guess, specifically the upcoming year?
Well, we're excited about expanding some of our major programs, and so we have proposals on to turn our math minor into a math major. We're excited about, we have a chemistry minor and a biology major already, but we would like to create this coming year a biochemistry major to help with our pre-health professional students. And then we're looking forward to forming a psychology major. So that's 3 new majors that are on the drawing board just for this coming year.
And of course, obviously students going on missions, but not just that. I mean, just the service to the local community that they have.
It's exciting. The student life has a new vice president, Charles Bowen, who comes to us with 30 years of experience in student life and affairs, and community service is kind of his byword. And so we're very excited about many of the projects. We work closely with Brian Brown down in the city, and he said we had more participating this past August than we've ever had.
Really?
He was telling about how many gallons of paint that they had to get and go back to the store and get more for some of the painting projects. So the students are service oriented. They know that a good life is a life full of service.
So now you come back, it's the fall, and the new school year is underway, and of course spring graduation. Do you have a favorite season or favorite time of the year, just as far as the academic year is concerned?
You know, I love it when the students are here. In the fall, obviously, with the sports season starting, it's very exciting. Exciting to be here tonight and see us play Washington and Lee. I love the fall. I like the change of the foliage, the arrival of new students that we've not met before, but also in the spring semester. It's good. By then we know many of the students.
Yep.
We know them by name, and we're able to deepen those relationships, and that's special as well.
And I would imagine you guys hear all the time from the opposing schools who come in here just how not only what a great view, but what great facilities there are up here at the fields at Southern Virginia University.
We're really very proud of the fields. Obviously, it's continues to develop with the new tennis courts. If you've been over to see them,
Yep.
they are just state of the art. We love this football field that doubles also for lacrosse and soccer. The women's softball field is great, and we look forward to the creation of the stadium here. We have temporary seats right now, the bleachers, but things are starting to pop.
Well, Madison, we'll let you go, but any final thoughts for listeners out there, especially maybe the parents who are tuning in tonight?
Well, I just want to say this is a really good, clean game. I think that the teams are quite evenly matched. Our goalkeeper, I'm just so pleased with all of the nice saves that he has done. I think Washington Lee is very good on their counterattack, but we have good organization. When we do our own set pieces, we're organized. We just haven't gotten it in yet, but I'm just really impressed. Both teams seem to be very patient. They're not afraid to pass. There's no one trying to show off to the detriment of his teammates, and so this is, from my perspective, a great game between two teams.
It's just good to see these two schools, these two teams get together in any kind of athletic event.
Absolutely, and I'm just pleased that, as I said, the evenly matched makes for a close and tight game, and that's what we like.
Well, Madison, thanks for stopping by. I'm sure we'll be talking to you more during the academic year.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
You take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
And again, we are at halftime here from the fields at Southern Virginia University with Washington Lee on tap at halftime over Southern Virginia University in men's soccer action. It's the Generals 1 and the Knights nothing. We'll come back in just a few minutes and take a look at those first half numbers and prepare you for the second half. Back in just a few minutes with Mike Harmon. Jim Bresnahan back here with you, along with Mike Harmon at the fields at Southern Virginia University. Mike, we're at halftime. W&L on top of Southern Virginia in men's soccer action 1-0. We've got the stats, and obviously not a whole lot of offense for either team in that first half.
No, they're 1-0. Obviously, there's 10 shots by Washington Lee, 5 by Southern Virginia, 4 corner kicks by Washington Lee, 2 by Southern Virginia, which kind of looks at their season stats where Washington Lee has had more shots than their opponents, and the Knights have had only about a third of the shots that their opponents take. So it's playing out like the stats have shown, except for the score only being 1-0.
And Keenan Carroll actually had a pretty good first half, had 5 saves, gave up the 1 goal. And that goal came after a surge by the Knights, a shot on goal, missed, and then W&L on the counterattack, swiftly bringing it back the other end to get that goal, Mike, and that's the difference in the game right now.
Yeah, obviously time of possession was really in the Generals' favor for that first half, and hopefully the Knights can remedy that and also shore up their defense.
And we'll see what, if anything, the Knights do differently here in the second half, if their approach changes at all.
You know, offensively, I don't know if I'd change a lot. Defensively, though, those passes that were going right in between the defenders on the back line has to be cut off before W&L can get to them.
Yeah, it's one thing, too, when the passing game isn't working, it's one thing not to have your offensive passes on the other end, give up the ball, that sort of thing, but to mismanage your passes on your defensive end and your side of the field, that could spell doom.
Offsides there for the Generals. Yeah, and we saw that Keenan Carroll got put in a lot of peril because of just miscommunication or lack of shutting down those passes sliding through the middle to a onrushing General.
And for those who weren't watching the entire first half, maybe the play of the game was Tristan Lonergan. After Carroll was out of position on a shot, it was Lonergan who actually stopped the shot, the second goal from going in for W&L. Otherwise, this might be a 2-0 game.
Yeah, it bounced off of Keenan. He made one save, and then Lonergan made the ultimate save as it bounced off the top crossbar.
W&L trying to work it in. Knights working it out.
You know, and we're seeing a lot of the same right now where W&L, really their passing is a little bit more crisp than the Knights, and their attacks are a little bit better planned out. The Knights are always on their heels playing defense. Pushing the back there by number 11, Greg Allen.
So the Knights really need to turn things around here. Otherwise, they're going to, first of all, they're going to have a tough time getting on the scoreboard. And second of all, they're going to have a tough time, too, keeping the Generals off the scoreboard with any more goals.
Yeah, what the Knights can't do, though, is get too impatient and allow the Generals to really get that counterattack going, because we saw how dangerous it could be.
And we haven't seen W&L make a whole lot of mistakes tonight, too, where you're maybe counting on a mental error by W&L to kind of give you a gift.
No, here's a build-up of attack by the Knights and cleared out by Greg.
Momentarily, W&L trying to keep it in. Nice passing, nice interior passing by the Generals.
And the Generals are really spreading the field, and there you can see their backline defense up past midfield. Offsides by the Generals. But back to your point, the Generals haven't made any mental mistakes. There's been a lot of great centering passes by the Knights. We've seen Carlos Munoz have a chance at it. We saw Greg Allen have a chance at it. But those were great plays by the offense, not a lack of defense by the Generals.
Knights trying to get something going offensively here. They just really can't get anything consistent going offensively. They were actually getting some shots on goal in the first 10-15 minutes of the game, Mike, just not a whole lot since then.
Yeah, the Generals have really eaten up the time, consumed the play clock with just great passing. And these long passes that the Generals are making are really just catching the Knights. I don't want to say unaware, but catching them on their heels.
And they're really good passes. Put exactly where the recipient really wants to go get it.
And nice anticipation of putting the pass far enough ahead to where the Generals can run into it, but not too far ahead where they can't get it before it goes out of bounds or one of the Knights defenders can get there.
And again, the Knights hanging right in there. They're only trailed by a goal.
Yeah, by no means are they out of this game.
Just need to hold on to the ball, maybe possess it a little bit more, Mike, and really set themselves up with a good offensive look.
Yeah, we'd like to see a good build up one side of the field to the other, shifting the ball, and then an attack down to a cutting player maybe down the middle.
That's working it upfield pretty good here. That's Lonigan. Over to Josh Smith. He goes through a couple of defenders and gets knocked down.
There's our another common foul there. Free kick for the Knights. And it seems like the Generals are always forcing. Oh, there we go. The quick start. Catches unaware. Josh tries to get by the defender.
If he could have, he would have had a good look at it, but just not able to go around that defender there.
Throw in front now for the Knights.
Knights will try the right side this time.
Long switch of the field out for a goal kick. But it seems like the Generals defense is always trying to force the Knights back to the middle of the field where they have another defender coming and double teaming the ball.
Man, WL defenders have really reacted pretty well tonight, too. WNL back on the attack again. Any final on that volleyball match that they had going on over in Lynchburg?
They're still going through it with Lynchburg up 2-1 right now.
In sets.
In sets.
Yep. And right now the Knights are on top 3-2 in set number 4, I guess.
Yes. Getting one of those long counterattack passes by the Generals.
And they work it close, but the shot sails over the goal.
You know, and you saw a slide there by one of the Knight defenders. And again, not able to get the ball out far enough away from the Generals, and they had another chance at it.
Yeah, lots of time left in this one, Mike. I would imagine from an offensive standpoint, especially if the deficit remains 1, you're not going to push the panic button until maybe 10 or 15 minutes left on the clock.
Well, if the deficit is still at 1 at that point, I still don't know if you push the panic button. I think you just remain calm and you play through your offense. The panic might come with less than 5 minutes to go.
And who knows? Maybe WNL would be the one panicking, thinking, "Hey, we've really played well tonight, possibly," and then only a one goal game.
And there's the difference in the game right now, where the Knights weren't able to. Ramirez wasn't able to catch up with Longerhand as he made his run.
A little softer pass, and maybe that's a goal right there by Lonergan.
And we've seen WNL really be able to make those same passes for shots on goal. New goalkeeper in for the Generals. Couldn't get the number.
Nice save by Carroll. Boy, how about that save?
Oh, that was a hot shot coming at him.
One-handed save, too.
And just able to punch it out. And then Court Cox was able to clear it out of bounds.
So the score remains 1-0. Don't forget, we'll have men's soccer action coming up on Saturday here from the fields at SVU. It'll be the Knights taking on and hosting Widener on Saturday. these teams still battling for the ball. Josh Smith able to grab it. Tries to go through a couple of defenders. Can't do it. If he's able to split those defenders, he might have a shot at it.
Now he gets the call and a free kick. And we've usually seen Carlos Munoz take these free kicks right outside the box. And we'll see what type of set play that the Knights come up with now.
I think you mentioned last time the possibility of him maybe kind of curling it, sailing it towards the goal maybe.
Yes, or as you see how far the Knights are out, maybe someone pushing in, running through the middle of the field there for a header chance.
Munoz will take a shot at the goal, but it sails off to the left.
Yeah, tried to bend it in there really tight to the near goal post. Good shot, but just a little bit off.
And the way the goalkeeper got over there, you really don't have a whole lot of room to work with, trying to go for the basically the right side of the goal from the goalkeeper's standpoint.
Exactly.
Both these teams still trying to battle for possession here.
Sub in for Washington and Lee, Kevin Molnar in for Andy Dean. And if the Knights can manufacture more of those shots or opportunities for shots, we might be able to see this defense from WNL crack a little bit.
Knights have had some stars tonight. Carroll, the goalkeeper, has had some good saves. Of course, Lonergan with his play to stop goal number 2 going in for WNL.
And that would have been a real, almost a nail in the coffin.
Just no one able to stand out offensively as WNL goes back on the attack. Trying to work it a little close. But the Knights prevent WNL on that occasion. Well, Keenan Carroll really has been busy tonight.
Very busy. You know, and I know goalkeepers like to be busy, but coaches like to see them back there just directing defense and not being really tested.
You mean they wouldn't want to look up at the scoreboard and see themselves on top 4-0?
Yeah. They
The old
love
kick back and take it easy approach?
Yeah, no, most of the goalkeepers want to prove their mettle.
Well, Carroll's proved it tonight. Just had the one goal he gave up. And there's Lonergan with it. Whistle blows. I think he might have shoved in the back.
Yeah, I think they called that on Greg Allen. You know, again, not a lot of subs for the Knights. It is a cooler night out tonight, so not a lot of dehydration factors going on, but you have to wonder about their legs.
WNL trying to work it in. They got a few players down there. Will they get a shot off? Nope. It'll be SVU clearing it, at least momentarily.
Oh, and a nice 50-50 header there by Court Cox to clear the ball out.
Knights hanging right in there, only down here 1-0 as we close in on the 30-minute mark of the second half.
Oh, dangerous play there as the general was coming crashing in on Keenan.
There's Ramirez trying to work with it.
See if the ball gets switched to the side. And again, you know, it looks like the men's team is starting to fall in the same trap as we saw the women's team early on in the Bridgewater game, where they're attacking on one side and one side only, trying to clear the ball to the same side, trying to take the ball down the same side of the field instead of switching fields and making sure that the Generals' defense gets spread out enough that they can make those passes.
Carroll surveys the scene. Let's see what he does. Kicks it right down the middle of the field. Knights trying to go on the attack.
See if Lonergan can just not able to chase it down.
Got another pass that was just too far.
Yeah, Tristan, and again, their passes are about a step off, maybe a step and a half off. And if those passes come back to them, like the Generals were able to pass it in the first half, you know, more opportunities for shots on goal.
Here's Smedley back into the game.
Again, it's just the time of possession that the Knights are fighting right now. Ball stays with the Knights.
And this may well be where the Knights want to be. Again, only trailing by 1 in the second half. Now it's just a matter of trying to manufacture some offense, though. As Josh Smith again tries to go through a couple of defenders and gets knocked to the turf.
Oh, and if that ball would have stayed on his foot just a little bit longer and he got knocked over like that, we would have been seeing a penalty kick.
Smith works to the right side. Kicks over the goal, though.
A little bit too much leg on that.
Just a tad.
There might be some football teams that are looking for a field goal kicker, and Josh just showed how strong his leg could be because he just barely tapped that.
Well, I wondered how many of these soccer players are being used these days, maybe at the more of the high school ranks, obviously, as kickers, because, Ramirez out there, as we mentioned at the very beginning tonight, Gabe Ramirez, back in the 2013-2014 seasons, one of the best place kickers at Rockbridge County High School here locally that the Wildcats at RCHS have ever had.
Yeah, they're
and they've actually had a couple of good kickers, including Ramirez, the last 4 or 5 years, and they both came from the soccer team.
Well, with soccer being played in the spring and football in the fall, it's very easy for that to happen. Unfortunately, in the collegiate ranks, you have soccer and football happening at the same time, and if you're a pretty good soccer player, I don't know any coach that wants to give you up on their Friday, Saturday games.
But it makes me wonder how many soccer players are going to the college ranks who have both soccer and football experience at the high school level.
I'm sure that number is probably bigger than what we would expect.
You see these soccer-style kickers, and they've obviously been in the NFL now for 5 decades, since I guess maybe the Gogolaks in the 1960s, but you still see a lot of straight-on kickers in high school, and these soccer kickers can make a big difference, soccer-style kickers.
Should be a foul on Tristan.
Knights still trying to get offense going here, trailing 1-0, and now under the 30-minute mark.
But still, no need to panic. No need to really try to do stuff outside the realm of their offensive sets.
But then again, the last thing you want to do, trailing here 1-0 with under 30 minutes to go, Mike, is give up goal number 2.
Now let's see if the Knights can counterattack as quickly as the Generals have. Again, it just seems that the Generals are a step quicker to the ball. Their passes are just a little bit crisper.
Seems like also that they're anticipating the passes, the recipients are just a little bit more. But now here come the Knights on a move. That's Munoz.
Oh, Carlos tried a little back heel pass to Smedley.
Don't think Smedley was expecting it. He ran over the top of it.
Again, that's not being able to play with each other for that long, with Smedley coming in as a freshman.
And we've seen Munoz do that a couple of times tonight, kind of almost a no-look deal, which is fine if your teammate is expecting it. Could really open things up if he is.
And Carlos is very imaginative with his passing. His teammates, especially the freshmen, are just going to have to learn to expect the ball at any moment. Even if Carlos has his back to you, that little back heel flip that he has is in his arsenal.
Josh Smith running up the left side is bumped to the ground.
And I didn't hear a whistle, so it looks like it might be a throw in for Washington and Lee.
Well, one thing's for sure, once we get to the final home game, technically senior day, they're not going to have to worry about anything, I think, on this field. Because looking down the roster, no seniors.
No seniors at all. So that's a good thing for Coach Patino as he's building. He has another year with all these guys, especially if he can keep a core of 7 to 11.
Good passing, but W&L comes up dry. Looks like on that centering pass they might have some going, but the Knights defense rises to the occasion and stops that W&L attack.
And once you see something happened to you so many times, you start to anticipate that they're going to do it again, and so maybe you defend it a little bit better.
Shot by W&L off to the right side.
And that was a cannon shot.
That was almost one of those shots where if you're the goalkeeper, you're just praying it's offline, because I'm not sure how many goalkeepers could stop a shot like that, especially if it heads to your left maybe.
Looks like we have Alexander Dubé coming back in.
And W&L's not sitting back at all. They're really challenging defensively.
Again, very attack-oriented in mindset by the W&L defenders and their offense. So their offense and defense is really meshing together well. Smedley gets the ball taken away from him, and again, you know, there they are on that far side of the field again, trying to take the ball down the field. Use the whole field, stretch the defense out, and your passes will find their targets a little bit better.
W&L works it, trying to work it towards the middle. They do. Shot over the right side, or over the left side, from the goalkeeper standpoint, and that was almost point blank, where W&L had a great look at it.
You know, and a nice job of centering it back, cut it back to the top of the box, and one step and one shot.
Connor Hayward with the shot, but it sails over the head of the goalkeeper and the goal. Well, W&L's dominated the stats, Mike, as we mentioned at halftime. Shots on goal. Unfortunately, saves for the Knights goalkeeper and corner kicks. But still, the most important area is goals, and right now it's only a 1-goal lead.
Looks like we're going to have a yellow card on number 17, Austin Gilbert.
Court Cox coming up a little slow after picking himself off the turf. Try to get you maybe a final on that volleyball. I'm not sure if, especially if it goes to 5 sets, if we'll have a final or not. Right now, Lynchburg's on top in set number 4, 22-19. So Lynchburg just a few points away from winning the match 3 sets to 1.
Smedley trying to play it off. And a corner kick. He did. He was able to play it off one of the general defenders. So, again.
Looks like Lonergan's going to take it maybe.
And another opportunity for the Knights now. Again, only being down 1. You know, one little mistake by the goalkeeper, a wrong move here, or a great centering pass by the Knights, and this game's tied up.
Now we'll see what the approach is here for the Knights.
Are they going to try to take it long or clear it out by the Generals?
Knights try to work it back in. They do, right side, and the Knights not able to get that shot off.
Who was that? I think that was Court Cox that just
Kind of got his feet tied up a little bit. He was open on the right side,
trying to kick it off the bounce there.
which is
Tough-
not an easy thing to do.
Tough play to try, but you know he saw the opening and he went for it. Again, two good chances by the Knights, a corner kick and then that long pass in to Court Cox.
And right now the Knights are just trying to gain possession near the halfway line. W&L obviously trying to get back on the attack and get a second goal, which would really give them a much needed cushion.
Nice job by Court Cox to get back and just clear the ball out of bounds. Substitution came in for Washington Lee, Kevin Lencioni for David Cohen.
Clock now starting to become a factor here in the second half, closing in on the 20-minute mark. Still lots of time for the Knights to try to even this game. Pass upfield. Knights working it up the left side. That's Josh Smith, who's really played a lot tonight. And he tries to go through a couple of defenders that can't do it. He's been doing that all night long, Mike, trying to go through, splitting a couple of defenders, in some cases 3 or 4.
Yeah, trying to get through and hopefully induce a foul called.
Now, if you're W&L and you get down to the final 10, 15 minutes, down around maybe even the 5-minute mark, do they go into some more of a passive, conservative approach, or do they just keep going after the SVU goals?
You know, I think they just keep on playing the way that they do. Their passing has been really well. They may want to make a few more touches on the ball before they try to attack the goal. But defensively, they've just done a great job in shutting down the Knights.
Munoz going to the turf, knocked there by Tedder, or Kerry Gerbasi for W&L.
You know, we haven't seen a lot of substitutions for the Knights. So you have to start wondering, okay, these guys have been playing for a lot of minutes. Are their legs starting to get a little tired?
Yeah, the one that really stands out there is the guy doing the kicking right here, Josh Smith. Nice pass. The headshot, though, by Drew Bay. Not able to go anywhere. So now we're down under 20 minutes to go in this game. Good defensive play there by Flynn.
Yeah, looks like he may have come up a little bit hobbled.
Knights trying to clear here.
Don't let it go out.
Lonigan tries to save it, can't.
And a throw in. He saved it enough so no corner kick. It'll be a throw in. Again, 2 more subs coming in for Washington and Lee. You know, and Longerhan and Flynn and Ramirez and Munoz and Smith and Allen, Francis, Cox, and Carroll. Those guys have played the whole
lot of
game.
minutes, yeah.
You know, and W&L keeps on bringing these fresh legs in at you, and eventually that's going to catch up to you.
Now, the Capital teams we'll see in another month or so. How deep are those teams, generally speaking?
You know, it's going to be something to watch this year, because every year you have different players come in, or some that step up, or, you know, injuries may happen. So we just have to play it week by week. But right now it looks like Coach Patino has decided that he's going to go with these starters. Great job by the Knights of clearing the ball out, playing it off general defender, and keeping Keenan out of trouble.
Good play there by Flynn to momentarily stop a W&L drive, but here come the Generals again.
See, and that little one-touch give and go is just really giving the Knights a lot of problems. And not so much that they've been giving up a lot of goals, but again, just a lot of problems with that back line defense.
Then, of course, it's tough to get on the offensive end when you're just worried about getting the ball out of your end.
And just like in any sport, playing defense takes a lot more out of you physically than offense.
Which could explain, obviously, why the Knights have not had a lot of shots on goal here tonight. So busy on the defensive end against these Generals.
You know, but they're about at their season average for shots on goals, and also for the shots given up to the opposing team per game. So, you know, again, just not a great possession team the Knights aren't right now. And I'm sure that's something that Coach Patino and Coach Tibbs are really working on. Their passing and obviously their offensive execution to try to make sure that they possess the ball a little bit longer.
Good move by W&L, but a great defensive play there by the Knights to stop that centering pass.
Again, Court Cox all over the place, giving up his body to stop the ball, but another corner kick by the Generals.
Now, with these corner kicks, you just never know what the other team's going to do or how it's going to turn out.
Yeah, and just one bounce either can go for you or against you.
Gilbert's corner kick sails way wide.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to go toward the far post and hopefully have someone headed in, but
a little bit too much leg on that.
See if the Knights could take advantage, get it out of their own end for at least a few minutes, and then try to get something going offensively.
Looks like Munoz was called for a foul there. Giving up a free kick. You know, a two-man wall for the Knights. Now Kenyon Carroll's got to be careful that they don't try to bend it in.
Generals try to get it towards the goal, not able to do so.
And a nice clear by the Knights. Not completely out of danger, but far enough that they could reset their defense. No, but Knights are having a little bit of a problem now with possessing the ball.
And just trying to get it into the offensive area. As Lonergan lost it. WNL on the attack here. Ramirez pressuring and the ball sails over the goal.
Yeah, we see Benjamin Bayless there on the ground, and he knew that he let a chance get away from him. As he was going to kick the ball, his plant foot slipped out from underneath him.
So at this point, you think Coach Patino has his team where he wants? I mean, not necessarily playing great offensively, but then again, Mike, only down by a goal and closing in on the 10-minute mark.
Well, it could be a lot worse for him, right? And we know that Mulaba is a major player for him because last year he was in every game that he was eligible to play. So he is missing a player, and I'm sure that he can't wait to get him back, but you know, I don't know if offensively he's where they would hope that they would be right now.
And again, as we talked about, just trying to prepare for the Capital Conference. Then again, I'm sure the Knights would love to beat the Generals for bragging rights.
Yeah, it's always nice to be able to be the top dog in your county.
That we don't see the Knights played too many games. Here's a goal by the Knights.
Gabe Ramirez.
Yep.
And again,
great.
just
From
one of
the
those
left side.
bounces. They were going for a header. It was bounced over to the Generals, and Ramirez was just Johnny on the spot.
Right place, right time.
Able to take the ball off the bounce to the far post, in for the score.
Just the second goal of the season for the Knights. Ties the game at 13, or with 13:53 to go. Ties it at 1 now. Well, now maybe you start to think a little bit about overtime, but still over 13 minutes to go here, Mike, for either of these teams to try to get a second goal, maybe take this in regulation.
Yeah, hopefully I don't know if the Knights would want to go to overtime. WNL has already played one double overtime.
A 0-0 game.
0-0 game. But the Knights would like to win this in regulation now. And, you know, momentum's on their side.
And that attack just kind of popped out of nowhere, as you mentioned, and Ramirez didn't hesitate. He was over on the left side and just made, not only was in the right spot at the right time, but made the right play.
Yeah, just a free kick, and they were going for the header down toward the far corner post, and, you know, bounced over a couple of defenders, bounced over the offensive players that were trying to
I think we got a cramp here, maybe.
Looks
Let's
like
see.
it's Colin Flynn that's down. Yep, grabbing his calf.
Oh, well, I'll tell you, those really hurt. Kind of surprised we haven't seen more of those men's and women's soccer here so far in the opening weeks of the season. Boy, he recovered pretty quick.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a trainer, Chad, out to.
And of course,
check
like
on him.
anything else, so when you get a cramp, it's not just working it out, but what kind of shape are you going to be in once it's worked out to come back and play?
Plus, you know,
Or that it actually might come back again.
yeah, and you see Colin there trying to get some water in, but that's going to take some time. Once you get dehydrated to the point where you get the cramps, now it's going to be the big key is can he push off with that leg? Because once you get a cramp, it's always ready to cramp up again.
Yeah, I'm really surprised they can stay in and play after something like that.
I think Collins walking off right now.
He is. So the Knights have tied the game 1-1.
Oh, here's that counterattack by the Generals. Looks like Sam Horman's in now to play defense for Colin.
General hit the turf. See what the call is here. Well, Mike, in a 1-1 game like this, who's got the advantage in the final 10, 12 minutes of this ball game, trying to win it in regulation, you think?
Well, you know, with the way the Generals have been liberally substituting, they obviously have fresher legs. Plus, their attacks have been a little bit more consistent than the Knights. But we saw with that goal by the Knights that all it takes is one fortunate bounce.
Carroll goes up, knocks it away. General's trying to keep it close. Knights trying to work it out. And they do.
Yeah, I think that was Josh Smith clearing it down to the other past midfield.
Now the Knights try to charge it into the other end. To Munoz.
Oh,
And
nice
he
job by Munoz.
Works it free. Gets the shot off, and a save by the WNL goalie.
You know, and if he could put it into that next gear right there.
Little sail maybe over the head of the goalie
Yeah, just
towards the right side of the goal.
great job by Gabe. Take the ball away. See Carlos bending over there trying to keep those legs fresh.
WNL tries to curl a good pass towards the middle, but SVU's defense right there.
Yeah, it looked like Carlos was trying to get into another gear there and just couldn't find it. If he could have taken maybe 2 more steps, his angle would have been a little bit better.
Maybe another cramp here.
Looks like it.
That's Sam Kelly.
Yep. You see him grabbing that calf again. You know, and again, once you start cramping up, unless you get an IV, those cramps will come back very quickly.
And they are painful.
Yeah, very painful. And you feel them even into the next day because
Right,
when
yeah.
those muscles start spasming. Number 8, Kenneth Fouchenet.
His first appearance tonight.
And Kenneth comes to us from England. Made the long trip over.
Five 5'10", 210 pounds.
Free kick for the Generals, and we've seen these free kicks just cause a lot of havoc for both teams.
Under the 10-minute mark, here comes the kick. They try a header into the goal, and it doesn't work for the Generals.
Ramirez is able to clear it out.
Fouchenet. You know, when Mullerball comes back, what's he going to mean for this team, you think?
It really depends on where the coaching staff puts him. Dangerous position the ball right now.
Shot goal by the Generals with 9:35 to go. And now the Generals are back on top 2-1. And that was a dangerous flurry there, Mike, as you mentioned, just seconds before the shot was taken. And it was a tough shot for Carroll, the goalkeeper, to stop.
Yeah, anytime the ball is right there in the middle of the field, you have to clear it out. Sam Horman wasn't able to clear the ball and gave just a nice shot, hard shot toward the far goal post for the Generals to go up 2-1.
So on the other end, Munoz had a shot at giving the Knights the lead, unable to do so, and now the Generals have taken the lead with 9:36 on the clock.
You know, and Bayless, and we got a yellow card. But Bayless, who missed one just a few minutes ago, and slapped the ground because as he was taking the shot, his plant foot slipped, was able to bury that one in.
Still anybody's game here in the closing minutes. But now the Knights need the equalizer, and they've got just a little over 9.5 or a little over 9:20 now on the clock to work with.
It's like Colin Flynn re-entered the game.
And Fouchonnet ran over a General who is still on the ground.
And like you said, he is a solid young man.
210 pounds.
No, but Mulaba, you know, when he comes back, it depends on where the coach is playing. Are they going to put him up in a striker position and a yellow card on Kennett? Are they going to keep him back in the defense where he played last year? Either place, he would make a huge impact just because, one, of the size and speed that he has, and two, just his soccer knowledge.
And are you apt to move him around from game to game, or is that a thing where you really want consistency, I guess?
I think they're going to go for some consistency and just put him in a spot to where he can help the team succeed, and the coaches will determine where that is.
Any final, by the way, on that volleyball? I'm guessing Lynchburg was able to hold on for...
Yeah, they held on for a 3-1 win.
Not too far away from maybe having your first SVU volleyball webcast.
Yeah, it's coming up very soon.
And what a season they had last year, huh?
Had a great season. Lot of departures though, and one of the main departures that is the head coach. He's now out at University of Southern Utah, Eastern, and you know, we wish her, Coach Lee, good luck, and she was able to get closer to her family, but she did a wonderful job last year, and hopefully Nicole Gwynn comes in and just continues where she took the Knights to.
General's trying to get a third goal, and Carroll's able to stop that.
You know, and Carroll's seen a lot of action tonight. Again, the Generals possess the ball. Looks like Josh Smith took down number 9, Mason Billings.
And maybe the stamina and all the substitutions W&L's been able to do starting to really take its toll here in the final few minutes of this one.
Yeah, I think we've already seen the cramps happening, and once the cramps start happening and you start to lose that much water, you really start to lose a lot of mental focus also when that starts to happen. So, you know, the Knights have been out there for a long time, run up and down the field, and a lot of pressure put on them offensively, and so, you know, just a long night for them.
Sam Kelly checks back in. And we are now down to 7 minutes on the clock with the Knights trailing 2-1.
And this is something that the Knights are going to have to contend with all season long if Coach Patino is going to stick with this limited rotation that they have.
And you would imagine the more they go deeper into the season, I would imagine the easier, if you can get easy, it's going to be for the Knights to deal with that.
Well, you'd hope so, but also comes the tired legs,
yep,
the bumps, the bruises, the knockdowns, all start to take their toll. So, you know, it's a catch-22 situation. Your team gets a whole lot better quicker when you limit the rotation, but they also can get worn out a whole lot quicker. And if an injury happens, what's going to happen next?
Got a player coming in then potentially, I guess, who hasn't seen a lot of playing time.
And not a member of that core team that you have, and the timing just gets thrown off.
Carroll makes a nice save and gets it ahead. Now we're down under 6 minutes to go.
Nice pass ahead.
Generals led 1-0 at halftime. Knights tied it here in the second half. And the Generals have taken the lead with 9:36 to go, and now we're down to 5:46 to go, and it's a 1-goal lead for the Generals of Washington Lee.
And it was a 1-goal lead for all of the first half. most of the second half. The Knights come back, tie it up, but that tie didn't last very long as the Generals went ahead and Bayless was able to put it in from right in the middle of the goal box.
Stayed tied for a few minutes, and the Knights actually had, again with Munoz, a shot at taking their lead themselves, but not able to do so. And soon after that attempt by Munoz, the Generals were able to get the go-ahead goal.
Yeah, Carlos just wasn't able to put it into that fifth gear. It may be because of the tired legs that were going on, but in the beginning of the game, he would have been able to go past that defender.
Clock a huge factor now, 4:50 left.
Now we're getting into a little bit of panic time for the Knights. Now we'll see how the Generals want to play this. Are they going to lay back and make sure that the Knights don't mount a charge, or are they going to keep attacking offensively and defensively?
Well, you got a couple of schools of thought on that. One being, I guess, the aggressive school. Hey, a third goal is our best chance at victory for WNL.
Well, and the passing that we've seen WNL do all game long has been really consistent and been accurate, and so they don't have to change a lot of things in order to eat up some time. All they have to change is maybe not going toward the goal as much, but switching the sides of the field 2 or 3 times before they attack.
Nice pass down by Carroll.
Knights, on the other hand, they have to do everything they can to possess the ball, make a little bit more accurate passes, and have their attacks mount up.
Yeah, one thing's for sure. They've got it in the WNL side of the field, Mike, and with 3:37 to go, this might be your last chance at it. Who knows? You never know. And the Knights not able to do much with that possession. Still have it, but now back on their own end.
That was just a textbook clear by the Generals. Just one touches all the way down the field. And there we see we've got our answer from the Generals. They're going to keep attacking.
They're going to keep trying to keep SVU on their side of the field.
Another long run by the Knights, but the Generals are equal to the task. Smedley will take it out of bounds and try to start it quickly. Oh, and now he waits. And Court Cox will come down and,
of course, now this is, while they're doing this, valuable seconds ticking off the clock.
Yeah, but they've brought everybody down now. So a counterattack leaves Keenan Carroll very vulnerable.
Yep. Cox trying to work free on the right side.
Tries
to
center
the
it.
middle. Oh, a shot just over the post.
Yeah, right off of Greg's head.
Well, that might be their best opportunity to tie this game, and maybe could be their last opportunity. Still just a little over 2 minutes left, and the Knights had a great look at it.
Yeah, Greg Allen was able to get up very high, played it off his head just a little bit too much where it hit the top crossbar and then hit the football upright.
See if the Knights get another shot at it here in the final couple of minutes.
Smedley taking it down the far side of the field to see if he can bring it back to the middle, and loses it out of bounds. Tough for the Knights right there.
Knights looking for an opening here. Now WNL's got it with 1:25 left.
Again, the Generals are on the attack. They love that counterattack. Not trying to hold the ball at all.
Chewing up some valuable seconds off the clock. WNL keeping it in, getting it down close.
That should be offsides.
No offside call, though, Mike.
Wow.
And the Knights are able to dodge a big bullet there with just less than a minute to go now.
I don't know how there could be no offsides there whatsoever. .45 seconds left. The Knights really have to attack now. They have one chance to go down the field right now. They need to use all the seconds they can
Here we go. Final 30 seconds. Will the Knights get one final shot at it in the final 20 seconds of this game? Needing a goal to go to overtime. No whistle.
This is
And
bad.
it looks like this is going to be the ball game. Generals are at the very least going to be able to run the clock out here. And they shoot and score with just 5 seconds to go.
And again, one of those issues when you start throwing all your players into the offensive end, you're really vulnerable for the counterattack. And for a team that really likes the counterattack, as the Generals have shown all night long, is just a recipe for disaster.
And WNL had a choice there to either take that shot or just continue to run the clock out, and they go for the third goal with just 5 seconds left. So WNL is going to end up winning this game, Mike, but the Knights gave a good account of themselves, tied this game in the second half, but it's Washington Lee getting a couple of goals in the final 10 minutes to pull out a 3-1 victory tonight over the Knights, who now drop to 0-4 in the season, and the Generals improve to 2-1-1 on the season.
Yeah, they play a great 80 minutes of soccer and then just let it slip away. And again, we don't know. We can hypothesize, is it conditioning and not playing as many people as WNL did? But again, a good accounting by the Knights. Hopefully we see things start to build for them as they get closer to the Capital Athletic Conference opener.
And of course, we'll see the men's soccer team, the Knights men's soccer team, in action on Saturday against Widener, Saturday at noon. We'll have that for you. And it'll be interesting to see in that game how many of the starters stay out there for so many minutes.
Yeah, we'll have to watch that on the stats and see what type of minutes they log. And is it going to be a factor? I know there's a cool front that's supposed to be coming through Friday, Saturday. It's supposed to keep the temperatures down in the 70s. But again, as you're running up and down the field, especially chasing the counterattacks by a team such as Washington and Lee, it really starts to wear you out. So we'll have to see how they recover and if Coach Patino changes any of his plan of attack.
So again, that's going to wrap things up again here from the fields at Southern Virginia University. Make sure you join us Saturday at noon for men's soccer action. The Knights will be hosting Widener Saturday at noon. Final score again tonight, Washington Lee wins it 3-1 over Southern Virginia. For Mike Harmon, I'm Jim Bresnahan. Thanks for joining us tonight.